leveitcha nava kodesh Adonai le'oref yamin nay 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 nay
Yeah, once he's ready, I'll probably end up working. But yeah, I just, they doesn't do anything. She does absolutely nothing.
She is useless as her husband.
More. Like 10 times more.
Wow.
Like
Does
it's,
she have Asperger's as well?
She
Meaning that he's the capable one.
oh, 100%.
That's unfortunate.
Wow.
He's the capable.
He is the one holding that thing together.
Oh, really? I don't think I've ever met her, so.
It's so literally everyone, because like Stephanie was the camp director, we chat a lot. And she and I are very similar. She also was like a public school teacher for a while and then did something a little different and so ended up being the camp director and she runs the after school stuff that we do during the school year. We get along very well and she said, I mean she told me, she was like, everyone at this point knows that your entire job exists because Alana came to yours. Like that is what my job is literally just doing the thing that Alana is supposed to do that she's not going to do.
What does Alana do?
We don't know.
And they pay her.
Who is her
They
boss?
pay her at the gym. Like,
Dad, I guess. But even Karen complains about her.
Karen John,
Yeah, to me.
we should.
Oh,
She complains to you that the rabbi doesn't do Judaics.
Yes. Because she and I had a lot of heart hearts because also there's a lot
Karen.
yes.
It was very nice.
Karen, we know Karen for 30 years.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, well, so this whole thing started over a year ago with they wanted to bring Judaics more into the ELC, but that ELC director who was Heather, who was there before, wasn't Jewish. Most of the teachers weren't Jewish, and they didn't feel capable. So we had this like committee, and so then someone said on me like, we really need someone who knows what they're talking about. Like, can we bring Rebecca in to just help us figure this out? They gave a lot of suggestions, and then it really turned into like those were things Alana needed to do. Like they needed the person who's the Judaic person on staff
To follow
do those things.
Right.
And even in the meetings, she said, I can't do that. Like I don't know how to teach preschool. Like I don't know how to do those things. And so then I literally got uninvited to the next meeting.
Go on
and I was
YouTube.
Like, right, and I was like, did they not like me? And then 2 days later, Karen sent me an email being like, can we meet? I would love to just hire you. And I was like, okay. And so it started really minimal. I was like, I'm just going around talking to
Do they
classes.
pay you or they get?
Good.
Yeah.
Tuition.
Yeah, so I also get a tuition discount for Iris and a free camp for Sandra. And so, but it keeps snowballing because there's a lot of incompetent people. So like the ELC director that they hired, he's Jewish, but he knows nothing. He was a kindergarten teacher for 5 years, and then clearly couldn't cut it in the classroom. And now they're trying to run an ELC, and it's bombing. And so,
ELC is what?
Early
preschool, yeah. And so, and the thing is, right, I have all the Judaic stuff, but I also have 10 years of teaching experience and a master's degree, and so then it's a lot of it is snowballing into like, well, can Rebecca do this? Well, can Rebecca do that? Well, can Rebecca do this? And so, but then they also don't want to pay me that much, right? And so I've
Talk to the hand.
right, and so, because I get paid, I basically, when I first started, they wanted to pay me like 20 something an hour, and I was like, absolutely not, I have a master's degree.
No.
Like, no. And so we negotiated, like, I would do fewer hours, but they would pay me like 35 an hour, but then they don't want me to go over 8 hours a week, because then they have to pay me too much. But then it's also like, all these people, right? And
Is Alana full-time?
I think so.
What a waste.
No one can figure it out.
What a waste.
It's literally Shelley's abilities that are trying to figure it out.
Sure, you're a French.
Yeah.
Well, in all fairness, when James Green was there,
He
he wasn't there as a rabbi, he was there as the assistant director. He was also useless. But then there was a rabbi before that. There was another rabbi. There was another position there. I think that was Micah.
Oh yeah, he was there.
Also useless.
I think this is what's like, and I think it's hard, Karen and I had when we talked about this, because she's really struggling with the director of DLC, because that's what I had a meeting with her where I was just like, because Iris is 3 years old, her class should be around 10, 12 kids in it, and they were having a lot of issues with trying to figure out where kids should be placed and all these things, and the board was like, you need to up enrollment, so they just kept taking kids without thinking about where to put them, and all of a sudden Iris's 3-year-old class skyrocketed to 19 children, at least 5 of which have like significant behavior needs.
Then they need to divide into two
Right,
places.
And
right, it was a disaster. And so I kind of watched it for a little while, but even for me, going into that class for 20 minutes was stressful.
Yeah.
The teachers were like basically in tears every day, and they're amazing.
And it's going to be stressful for the kids.
And then the kids who already have behavior issues, it was like multiplying. And so I was like, I want to talk. I was like, I'm coming on with my mom hat, but I'm also here as my employee hat. I'm happy to help figure this out, but this ain't working.
Right.
But this is also the problem. It's like, you just keep getting yourself jobs. because I will complain. Hello! Right, like I won't allow for things to go so far. We have really high standards.
Somebody has to set the standard.
And so, it's so hard. It's like,
Hello!
hello, Miss Noah!
I'm just tired.
And are you content and satisfied?
Yeah, and I think that's so because that's technically 30 hours. I think that's kind of how we get it. Right, there's like 30 and like 10 I can do and break that. And they also feed into each other, right? Right, especially for the PM, right? I'm at PM, so then I'm seeing a bunch of the keepers and kids, and I'm showing other families. We even got a family or two from the preschool that wouldn't have otherwise joined me. I don't know that.
Hi there. How are you?
Where's everyone?
I'm good. Where's everybody?
Where is everyone?
Maybe you
I
want to
like
service.
rest.
How do you get her into not pink and Minnie Mouse?
Well, the whole family's wearing blue, so
We both think. I try sometimes.
You do?
Iris, literally, I bought her when she was like, when she wants to out, and she really wants her skirts all the time. So I was like, okay, well maybe we can do skirts because otherwise you're just like running in the dirt, skirt.
Right.
Exactly. And then she was just like, so I was like, I'm gonna buy some skirts, and I did. And then I bought one that was blue. The rest were pink. One was blue, and she literally saw it and was like, yeah. I was like.
Okay.
I tried to sneak it back and she was like, Mom, I will not wear this. Yes, this is true.
Cool.
We tried to do like hand me down for her family tires. It doesn't really go well.
unless he was wearing pink, so purple maybe.
Even in some things that we should, like, there's like been a few things
There's
I'm like,
neutral things.
there's a neutral thing. She wants the
Red.
earliest early you can get. Pink,
Our Emily was like that too.
sparkles.
Our Emily was like that too.
I know where to go.
You know.
Where's that? Mommy's right here.
What's hour?
That's 6:10.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one more minute and then we'll just start. He's doing art. Oh, really? Special version. Why, we did get, Lily, for not starting out. He does sometimes, but literally at the front of stuff. I got like really for not starting. So I was like, but like if people aren't here, I don't know.
And it's also, it's not like it's not. It's not Zoom, I guess he's on Zoom tonight.
There's a
But there was a concurrence, like when he said that, and everyone else was like, well, we start things on time.
No, we don't. But we are supporting you.
Give us the script about why you're taking some of the conference.
I don't know.
You weren't part of it.
Here goes just my friend.
You weren't part of it.
Hey.
I had to take myself out of something.
Yes, thanks to self-care. That's your generation's motto, self-care.
There's something that we want to go back up to.
We're not, no.
You don't church?
There are a few things more enjoyable.
I already
Yeah, you're really going to listen.
I have plenty of opportunities. Three even sometimes because of this
But she's not a problem.
No, but between the JCC and the school, I'm
What
like,
is she trying to do? She probably had to do that.
sometimes she'll just like, I'll like get like, oh, that's fun.
Listen to the rain.
This sounds scary. There is dinner tonight, you do not sign up, but it kind of is, you kind of is.
Sweet.
Isn't it nice? We're lost.
I raised the best. Oops. Oh, well.
Well, it's an action line.
Volunteer lay leaders.
Woohoo!
Not my day job. How was camp first week?
Pretty good. A little crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oopsie daisy.
No one's crying.
It was good. I was very tired.
I'm very tired.
But
Sorry, I let you go a little bit harder than I
shall we get started?
If you shake it.
Toby knows if he's leaving.
Toby knows he's looking for somebody.
He is usually late.
They're usually a little late.
Yeah. Cool. Shall we get started?
Yeah.
Just say we're all seeing.
Alright, hello, Shabbat Shalom. We are going to start with the Yadid Nefesh on page 10. Yadid Nefesh Shalom page 11. L'chon eranena l'Adonai Nariya Mitzorishenu Nekadma Fanav B'Tada B'Zivot Nayelov. Arba'im Shana Kupator Ba'oman Toel Vavim Behem Lot Yudokai Asher Nishpati Rabi In Yerona Manufati. Page 13. Shiru Adonai Shir Adonai Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Adonai B'Kol Sheno Basur Miyom Yom Yeshuato Sapru V'Goyim Kevado B'Kol Ha'amim Niflotav Page 15. Adonai Malach Tegaret Yismachim Rabim Anan Ve'achot Seviva Sadik Mishpat Nechon Kisot. Adonai Seira Shomer Nafshot Chasitav Me'or Rishayim Yatzilim U'Zaru Ala Tzadik U'Shvei Sim 17. Mizmor Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash Ki Niflau Tatzah Hoshia Lo Yemino Uzaro Shachati Yishuato Ho'ene Hagayim B'yatzi Hato Sachar Hashem Nato V'Veit Yisrael Ba'u Asei Haaretz Et Yeshuat Eloheinu Havir Adonai Kol Haaretz Yitzchol V'Ranenu V'Zamiru Zamiru Adonai V'Kila V'Tzina V'Chatzatzel V'Shachar Harim Yifnei Adonai Yiram Hayanu Mo Teva V'Yosheva Page 19. Adonai Malach, Yedis Yalahim, Yosef Kuvim Tanit Haaretz, Adonai B'Tzion Gadol, V'Yahu HaKohanim. Remember Adonai Eloheinu v'shachavu l'har kadsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We continue on page 21. Please rise if you are able. Mizmor v'David, havu Adonai Levim, havu Adonai, kavod page 27. Mizmor Shir, Le'yom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Le'yom HaShabbat. Adonai Melech, Lavish, Lavish Adonai, Ozi Tazar, Atikon Tevel, Fatimot, Nachon Kisachaneas, Me'olam Atah, Masu Nerot Adonai, Masu Nerot Olam, Yisur Nerot Avyam, Mikol Mayim Rabim Adirim Bishbarayam, Adir B'maram Adonai, Edotah Nenu Meod, Levecham Havad Kodesh, Adonai Le'orach Yamim, Nay, 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 We continue with Kadisha Tome on page 30. If it is your custom to rise or you are observing a yurte, please do so. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabah. V'yama divach v'yutei v'yamut makutei v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayiv v'chol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. V'yeh shmei rabah v'barach le'olam amen amen. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitha'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalet v'yitala shmei l'kudusha v'yithu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'ama v'imru amen. V'yeh shlamot rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav v'yeh aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. All right, and we now call on Shelley Byrne for a Devar Torah.
He did. Yishar Kochech to Rebecca Schneeper. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So tonight, this Shabbat, we have the honor of reading in the diaspora, reading not one, but two parshas, double parsha, back on Shavuot because of the second day of Shavuot in the diaspora, but only one day of Shavuot in Israel, we got thrown off cycles for a few weeks. And so this week we finally, all the Jewish people finally reconnect with the parshas this week. So the first one is Chukat and Barak. So I also, Rabbi Rob, who's away this month in Europe on a very meaningful Holocaust educator-related trip, had asked if I would give the Bar Torah tomorrow morning here at Beth a few weeks ago, and so I agreed to do that. And so I thought, this is perfect, it's a double portion, so tonight I can talk about Chukat, and tomorrow I can talk about Barak, so it's great. Does anyone know what Chukat means? For the lawyers in the room, this is for you, if there are any, I'm not sure, actually. It means a statue, exactly. This parsha gets its name from the second verse of the parsha in Numbers, or Bamidbar, chapter 19, verse 2, which introduces the laws of the red heifer. We do a lot of time traveling in this parsha. Do any of my friends in this room like time travel? Right? It's pretty cool, right? Guess how many years we fast forward in this parsha? Yeah? Yisha, you got a guess?
Like 3 months.
Not quite that far. Last time we were, yes, go ahead, Ezra. We don't go quite that far because we're still in the time of Moshe. So we didn't go quite that far yet. Sorry, Moses. Go ahead, Ari. 38 years. the wilderness of Zin, some sad things happen, like Miriam dies. Moshe hits a rock after and when he gets mad at the Israelites when they're asking for more water and complaining again. And Moshe is told that neither he nor Aaron will enter the land. Sorry, Moses is told neither he nor Aaron will enter the promised land. So, that's big picture that happens in Chukat. But because I'm a lawyer, obviously tonight I wanted to talk about the legal framework for Judaism. So, there are two main kinds of mitzvot. They're the ones that we read about, like the ones about the paraduma, the red heifer, which kind of make no sense, and those are called chukim, right? Like chukat, right? So those are statutes. Sometimes we call those super-rational laws. And then there are the ones that are like more obvious. Those are called, does anyone know what those are called? It's mishpatim, exactly, mishpatim. Right, so those are the ones that govern interpersonal ethics. They make more logical sense. In some ways they're more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Universal kind of commandments that you might find across many faith traditions. The chukim are a little more wacky. Like, the question, actually what I was supposed to ask, does anyone have any other ideas for what, any other chukim they can think of? Keeping kosher, right? It's a little bit unusual, anyway, there's ideas behind it, but that's like a common one. Any other ideas? Anyone know another one? Keeping Shabbat, that's an interesting one. I'm going to think more about that. Yeah, it's a lot of work. There's a special one with clothing. Shatnez, yeah, exactly. Sorry, Ezra, were you going to say that? You were totally going to say that. I'm sorry, my friend. You totally got it. Right? And so, why do we have mishpatim? Right? Does anyone want to offer an idea? Why do we have mishpatim? Yeah, go ahead, Yishai. There's some things that Hashem doesn't want us to do. Exactly. They're kind of the foundation of any society, right? Don't murder, don't steal, treat each other nicely, right? And so, there's anyone heard of the Rambam or Maimonides? Yeah, he's awesome, right? He's a rabbi who lived a long time ago. So he wrote about this idea of two different kinds of mitzvot. He said the mishpatim are mitzvot whose reasons are obvious, and the good they cause in this world is known. These are things like the prohibition of stealing and killing, and the command to respect your parents. I hope everyone's listening well. And the chukim, now these are mitzvot whose reasons are not really known. And our sages say, hey, Ashley, okay, go do trees, have fun. There's magnet tiles. Now, Aaron, can you show Ashley where the magnet tiles are?
Daddy, we're making train stuff.
Can I show you?
Alright, let's go see the train.
And so our sages teach, these are chukim that I got established for you, and you do not have permission to question them. I think the Talmud begs to differ. I think there's a lot of questioning that happens with chukim. But, so I think a way to think about it is that the difference is that mishpatim are rules we might have figured out on our own, right? And like I said, they're more universal, you might find them across faith traditions. They're kind of inherent from moral reasoning, and they're obviously good for us and good for society. The chukim might be a little bit different in that way. Okay, what else did I want to say tonight? So, the rabbis and scholars taught that chukim test human discipline. This is one idea, right? That they remind us that God's wisdom might be superior to human understanding, and that following them prevents humans from relying solely on our own judgment, which can be tainted sometimes, which can be prejudiced, which can be biased, to determine right from wrong. So, now we're going to take time for Nathan and I know I've mentioned Rosh before, but if you don't know what Rosh is, it's like Hadar's kind of older kid guide to the Parsha. It's really cool. There's wonderful learning in it. And each week they have a 1-minute debate, which Nathan and I really enjoy looking at. So, this side of the room, sorry, we're a little bit uneven, if you want. You are going, actually, whatever, you turn to your partner or do it however you want. Take 1 minute. Here's the debate. Every mitzvah has reason. So, you can either agree or disagree. Take 1 minute to debate if you want with a partner or inside yourself. Does every mitzvah actually have a reason? Or are some of them just a little wacky?
I disagree.
So take 1 minute if you want.
What is Stephen 5?
I think yes, because Hashem says.
You want to come look up here with me? Right, and the Thomas question that she rightly raises in the back is, does it matter? So if you want, you can add that into your discussion. Does it matter whether the mitzvah has a reason?
I think it doesn't matter. Because I think if the mitzvah has a reason, then we can reason ourselves out of it.
Here it says, agree. Just because you don't understand the reason for a mitzvah yet, that doesn't mean there isn't one. Sometimes you might have to spend your whole life trying to figure out what the reason is. God wouldn't command us to do something without a good reason. So let's agree, every mitzvah has a reason. And for disagree, a chok is a mitzvah that doesn't have a reason. Our job is to accept that and perform it anyway. Some mitzvot might seem random, but they give you an opportunity to show faith and listen to Hashem, whether it makes sense to you or not. And sometimes God doesn't need a reason. The king can do whatever he wants. So which one do you agree with? Agree or disagree? Agree. Alright, take 10 more seconds to finish your thought and we'll come back together. Alright, and Caleb votes for team. Agree. Just because you don't understand the reason for a mitzvah doesn't mean that there isn't one. Sometimes you might have to spend your whole life trying to figure out what that reason is. And maybe we don't believe in the God that would command us to do something without a good reason. Does anyone have any counter arguments or want to play devil's advocate or want to share any thoughts from their small group conversation? Yeah.
What's the big deal of doing Shabbat?
Let's continue this conversation over dinner. I think there's some really good value to Shabbat, tied to God and not tied to God. But it's a good question, Nathan. Anyone else want to share any ideas from their small groups? No, that's okay. All right. Well, thank you all for thinking this through with me. I hope we can find inspiration in our tradition and in our mitzvot, the ones with obvious purpose and the ones who maybe have a deeper meaning, hidden somewhere for us to uncover. Shabbat Shalom and happy birthday, Toby. And I'm going to invite the birthday boy up now to lead the word. We'll save that for dinner. And Myers can be found on page 39A, I believe.
Sorry, page 39A. Page 44. Daniel is on page 47. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחרים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי לא שלח את מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהינו אלה ישראל ויעקב וישראל ויפרח אליה האל הגדול הגיבור האלוהים קודש השמיים והארץ מגן אבות בגאו מחייך מתים במאמרו האל הגדול שאין כמוהו המניח לעמו ביום שבת אשר ניגן רצה להניח להם ניגן רצה להניח להם לפניו נעבור ויראו כחם ונדע לשמור בכל יום תמיד בין הברכות מקדש השבת מברך שלי ומניח בקדושה והמקדושה בקצה ונעשה ראשי אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו במנוחתנו קדשנו במצוותיך ותמכתנו בתורתך צווינו בטובך ושמחנו בישועתך ותטהר ליבנו ועבדך באמת והאכילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך ואנוכי ישראל מקדש שמך ברוך אתה מקדש השבת יגרע וגרש נדע ואמר יכול לקדשו רגליו שם חייבנו אמן ושמר אברהם אברהם שם אלוהיכם ויגרע שבח ובגום המנסה וידבר ושב ואילם מקדש אותם ושבח ואחדם ולכם עתד אמרו ואוהבים אמן תגלה סיים ואין חיישי הקלם בנזרנו אמן וישם וישמע וחדר וחסרנו אמן עושה שלום ורב ויעשה שלום וכל סוערנו אמן עלינו בשבח אדונתו וגדול היוצא ראשי שאור עשה מכל הארץ ולא עשה עלינו שלא עשה חכינו בהם ואור עלינו תרענו ומשחרנו הקדוש ברוך הוא שאומר השמיים ויעשה הארץ ומה שיקרוב השמיים ממעל ושכינה דוזה בגודל ביומי ואלוהינו אלוהינו כבדו ותורתו ידע כי אדוני אלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ ונאמר היה אדוני במלך הארץ Is anybody saying Kiddush Hashem? Is anybody saying more Spanish? More Spanish? I can't say it because my parents are alive.
I can say it.
I just can't do it.
What?
I can't do it.
Oh, thank you. I'll let you take over for you, dog. All right. For anyone who's observing a yortzeit, or mourners, or if it's your custom to rise for the mourners Kaddish, it can be found on page 58. Yikaral v'yikadash mirabah, be'amad yivrach l'utei v'yamlich machutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayedecho be'Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. V'yishmei rabbi mevarach le'olam omer amaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitagar v'yitdala v'yitdala shmei v'kudsha v'elam inkor berachata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlom rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imamav huya oseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. You want to do announcements? You want me to? So good Shabbos, everybody. Thank you to Dr. Toby Kavine for leading us in a beautiful marriage and Mazel Tov on your 29th birthday. Let's see. Thank you, Dr. Schnaper, and beautiful Kabbalat Shabbat. I hope you enjoyed my Dvar Torah. Come back tomorrow if you want to hear Parshat Balak. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's been a part of our BECKS community so far this year. We're going to take July off for a little summer recess, and then we'll reconvene at the end of August. So stay tuned for that. Join us for dinner, whether you signed up or not. There's enough food for everyone, so please come join for dinner after this. And lots of ice cream. Hope you took your lattes or whatever. And I want to thank the Hadar Community Group grant, which has provided the funding for the dinner tonight, and is like a really wonderful